Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're back. This is Pro Series Round 3 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. A track that brings out a lot of racing, a lot of good opportunity for overtaking as well, but also a lot of opportunity to cause a safety car, as we've seen in the two previous rounds. We're here in the bang middle in the city, Baku City Circuit. And yeah, we've seen a lot of drama in the past. 2016, Daniel Ricciardo, Max Verstappen got into a little incident. Maybe Carlos and Jacob will do the same today. We don't know. Those two people are in the Red Bull, and they'd like to fight for the win, ideally. Max Verstappen has won the previous two Baku races from what I remember, and here is the Azerbaijan Grand Prix circuit. We have two DRS zones, and it's mostly 90 degrees corners that Lars doesn't like, but 20 corners, most of them you can take quite fast. The tire compound for today's race is going to be soft, medium, and hards, and the hard will be the longer lasting. The softs, not that popular, and intermediates and wets are available if there will be any rain tonight. Alongside me today, we have Frico, who has been turning up as a boss in every single commentary session this week so far, and in previous weeks as well. It's a good commentator from across the pond from where I'm living. Hi, Frico.
All right, how's it going? It looks like we have some overcast skies out here, so a potential for some rain and qualifying, perhaps.
Maybe that's why people are going out already on the track as well. We'll have to simply see. I don't know why my HUD disappeared. Right, so you're absolutely right. There is overcast at the moment, and we saw from yesterday. You commented the race that I won yesterday. The rain necessarily doesn't make the car and the track a lot more easier to handle, right?
No, it does not. I think you can attest to that more than I can, as you were out on the track racing in that very difficult set of circumstances. Rain coming out in qualifying, as well as, I believe, right about the smack dab middle of the race, we saw rain start to fall and got everybody all out of sorts.
Yeah. No, the rain really made everything difficult for all of the drivers, and I just happened to be the one that came on top. But yeah, surely, if it happens today, bit more experienced group than Challenger 1. So hopefully, not as much safety cars as we saw yesterday. But fingers crossed that we get some good racing today.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what you want to hope for every time you go out on the track, is some good quality racing.
Yeah.
Preferably clean on top of that as well. So
preferably. Well, we'll just simply have to see later on in the race. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, it is a short qualifying. We have this standard in Power F1 that if we are under 15 drivers, then we are going to have short qualifying. Because there is no need to have a full qualifying, because the first 5 that would get eliminated isn't even there to be eliminated. So 13 drivers, and Suyan, my teammate from yesterday, puts out the provisional pole time in the Alpine, and I am currently on board with the McLaren sector 3, and so are you, because you see my screen share. But yeah, he crosses the line and Jan goes fastest, 138.9, so that's 2 seconds faster.
yeah, there's definitely time to be had out there, as we see Linus Strin come across 140.3. So Jan in that McLaren putting up a pretty solid time. We'll see if anybody else can go below 140. Ooh, James Taylor so close, 11 hundredths of a second away from breaking the 140 barrier.
Yeah, but that's still 2 seconds to be found. Jan had an absolutely stunning lap in the first on his first try, and yeah, we can see it on the screen right now. Nobody really close to challenging it at the moment. Phoenix, on the other hand, is the closest driver is challenging it, but not quite. Jan, the McLaren driver, is currently holding the top step.
Well, it is early in qualifying. You get that one kind of banker lap, shall we call it, and then you start to push things a little bit further. I believe some of our runners are out on medium tires as opposed to on the soft tires as well, so that might be a factor. No, only one or two runners actually out on mediums.
Yeah.
Carlos and Jacob. I would have figured more runners out on the mediums or possibly intermediates to rubber in the track a little bit for the runs later on.
Absolutely. But there is a bit of a stigma going around in F1 esports, is that if you're running intermediates during a league race, you'll be seen as a wannabe esport driver. But at the grand scheme of things, we don't really care. If you need to test your setup, then so be it. Test it with a set of intermediates. But maybe the reason why they don't use intermediates is because they're going to save it to the race. Who knows? I don't know the forecast. What I can do is do the rain dance in my room, but that won't really do anything. From what I know.
You were doing that yesterday to get the rain to show up.
No, I did the dry.
Back up at the front of the grid.
I did the dry dance, if anything. I do not like driving in the rain. I can assure you of that. Rain is not a good. It's not a good condition for me. Mixed conditions is my weakness. If it stay dry, then at least I know my pace. If it's anything other than dry, then it's kind of up and down, side to side, like a roller coaster, like a wise man in Lando Norris once said. But yeah. No, soft tires so far, and nobody has been challenging the McLaren driver. Will we see another McLaren driver winning today's race? I sure hope so. Might be a bit biased because,
well,
I'm a McLaren driver myself.
Persigelli there within a tenth of a second at 139 flat almost. So I think we have a challenger to Jan Sverdlik's provisional best time of the session right now.
Absolutely.
And the way I see it, you probably got 3 shots at getting out there and putting on a lap.
Yeah, 3 tries are normally what you would get in that short qualifying. You're absolutely correct. And yeah, Persigelli has that in his holster. It's maybe just braking 1 meter later in a corner. That might be the time to find, and Persigelli knows that. I'm sure of it. He's quite experienced, the Flying Fed in the Mercedes, and so far Persigelli has been unlucky in the 2 previous rounds. And to address what's the question mark a bit from last week, that was not an ideal race for Pro Series, and the conditions were not met on a steady lobby. The decision was to cancel the race, and further news will be brought up later on during the calendar. But as of right now, Spanish Grand Prix is cancelled and will not be rerun as it stands. But doesn't matter too much because we have already traveled across the globe to Azerbaijan, so it's a bit too late to pack things and go back, is it?
Yeah, those shipping costs are kind of rough. So I can definitely see why you don't want to, push the budget as far as maybe going over with the 145 million that each team's afforded.
Yeah, absolutely. In that case, we might have to ship the cars by ship, and that means that we won't run the race until early next year or something. So. As of right now, we do not know, but I can assure you in the audience that we are in contact with UPS and whatever shipping company there is there to bring you some good racing in the future. But Spanish Grand Prix as of right now will not be rerun. Something that will be rerun though is Persigelli's lap here, and he's preparing for a fast one, I'm sure of it, on a first shot of soft as well. 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, so he's going to have, this is going to be his second run of things. Oh, we see a yellow in Sector 1. I think that's just somebody slowing down to allow a faster driver through.
Absolutely.
But we've got 7 minutes, so just over halfway finished with our qualifying session here. And Jan Sverdlik, I believe, is out on another lap and knocks the time down to 1:38.7. So Jan Sverdlik asking everybody else, all right, how low can you go? I can go lower. How about you?
I love that analogy. And yeah, we'll be on board with Brasigali now watching his lap, and I will be commentating through it as well. Because I think it's good to hear it from a driver. Anyways, just flat out until the first corner, and you brake at 150 mark. And you ideally want to kiss the apex, not quite hit it as hard as you possibly can, but just kiss it, give it a quick smooch. And so you want to do the same to that apex as well. DRS open for this straight as well, and ideally if you would have a teammate that is in this position, a bit of a toe maybe. And 100 meter mark as well. They have lowered the apex in that corner, so you can get a tighter run into it. And on the exit as well, you need to get on a steady graduate power, and here you want to be close to the wall as much as possible, and ideally you do not want to mount that apex on the inside. But here we go, down to the 50 mark as well. Oh, misses the apex just a tiny bit there. Is this enough to improve the castle section as well? That's going to be tough, and it looks like Persia has backed off from this lap, in my personal opinion. Yeah,
we'll
completely.
See where he's at when we come through to the end of Sector 2 to see where he's at compared to his previous lap time. He did back out a little bit after Castle. It looks like he's just kind of coasting through parts of these sections where I think he'd want to be flat out.
Yeah, you can see the blinking lights there behind the rear wing, meaning that he's recharging his battery, which means that he's not running this lap. Maybe box for a fresh set. Maybe he's gonna run this lap again if he has enough fuel, but if you want to go below the 149s, you do not want to have any fuel on board, and yeah, it looks like he's pitting.
So yeah, he's gonna bring it back in. So not quite able to get anything done with that second shot of things in qualifying. So take a little bit of time. Look at, all right, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? You've got a little bit of time before you have to really go back out there. So compose yourself, take a little bit of self-inventory, as it were, and go, all right, how do I improve on that lap that I put out? And where can I, look at improving that second lap? Oh no, we've got an invalidated lap by Bradley here. So
don't think it was a push lap. Don't think it was all good. Bradley usually has a lot more pace than what he's currently showing, so I think it's just a slow out lap at the moment. There's a yellow sector, and that is Bradley slowing down, and I don't see any other car there. We'll have to see if he's gonna switch up the ERS. There is no traffic at the moment on the track except for an Aston Martin in the same sector, and as he cuts the corner, which usually is against the rulebook, so we'll see if any team will contest that. But it seems like he's running slow into the pits as well. He was 2 seconds down the delta when I tuned into him, and yeah, it looks like he's running on low fuel mode, if anything, which is another breach of the rules. So we'll have to see how the other teams will take it. Maybe they give him a pat in the back and it's like, yeah, it's okay, just don't do it again. Or they will do a Red Bull and contest everything they see. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Now, you definitely have a lot more knowledge of the nuances of the rules being a racer in this league as compared to me, who is I guess the commentator extraordinaire, as we want to
you're the David Croft.
I know a bit, more than just a little bit when it comes to Formula One, but definitely not as extensive in the knowledge bank when it comes to Formula One as compared to you, and especially specific rules like going down into low fuel mode, cutting corners on a lap that didn't really count and was already invalidated anyway. So
As we see someone do it again.
ay, ay, ay.
I mean, I'm just writing everything down. I'm the owner of this league as well, so you know, I have a textbook right next to me. I'm just writing down names.
Oh no!
No, I'm not gonna do anything about it unless other teams are gonna contest that. But to go back to F1 a bit, so Carlos is a very fast driver, and being P11 currently is really out of position for the Red Bull driver. He doesn't want to be there, and yeah, he needs a really good lap here because this is gonna be his final lap as he heat up his rear tires, and we'll see how he's gonna do in this lap, and I will be commentating the lap for you guys as well. Flat out here, and an Azerbaijani setup, you want to have as slow downforce as you possibly could there, knowing the walls around you, not too much, and as he has half his car over the curb as well to get the best optimal exit. 150 mark, 100 meter mark, 150 meter mark, he brakes, uses all of the track on the exit there to get the best optimal line, and as he heads down the second DRS zone as well, if you miss this corner, you're gonna end up with the wheel loose. You do not want to do that, and he hit that perfectly. Just want to kiss that curb, as I said earlier on when I was spectating Persigelli. And here you want to keep as close to the wall as possible to give you a good exit. Not quite as good, and he touches the inside curb as well. That will make you lose a lot of speed on exit. And here you want to cut as much curb as you possibly can, exactly like that. And we saw Persigelli miss that earlier on. Here you will never want to go side by side because there's just not enough room. And he keeps it nice and tidy there, and uses all of the track on the exit as well. Half the car mounted off the track just to have that extra tenth in the lap, as well as he just hits the wall. He grazes the wall with his Red Bull. There is some paint there left over, and I'm sure a fan is gonna steal that piece of commercial, well, advertising on the wall, because some Red Bull paint on it. Flat out, no questions about it. Your inner racing line calculator will tell you that you want to go outside, inside, and here there is a drag race all the way down to the line, and let's see where that puts him. Carlos needs a good lap, and that puts him P5. Oh.
Alright, so not bad. So Carlos, our first finisher of the qualifying, so 5th place at best. We have plenty of other drivers that are going to be able to improve on their times, and most of them are out on their flying laps. The last ones that we will have of the session, we've got Linus Strind in the Haas coming through the straightaway, and it looks like there's a Red Bull right behind him. Jacob, I believe.
Yeah, it looks like Jacob finished his lap, but and Linus as well. So Jacob being put up in P5. Jan stays pole position. No one to contest that at the moment. Persigelli is currently on a lap as well. Persigelli, only one that is close to challenging it. Bradley up to P2 as well. Just 2 tenths shy. 3 tenths shy, sorry, of Jan's time. McLaren seems to be really rapid today. And Persigelli is actually not continuing his lap. He's on recharge mode. Unless we are being shown a different timer here. Let's see when he crosses the line. It doesn't look like it. So that's the grid we have for you today. That's top 3. That's Jan, Bradley second, and Persigelli third. So all of them from different teams, which means that this the fight for the win is wide open.
Yeah, Persigelli definitely backed out of that lap, about 7 seconds slower than his best time earlier in qualifying. The good part is it's only your best time that counts out of the whole session, so no harm, no foul in that regard. So
Yeah.
take us through the lineup and Any surprises that you see?
No surprises with McLaren on pole position. Wink wonk. Williams or Bradley P2, Persigelli P3, the Flying Finn, Wickes P4, in the Alfa Romeo P5. Jacob would ideally want a better qualifying Phoenix P6 in the AlphaTauri. Cameron Aston Martin P7, Ergodog James Taylor Mercedes P8, and P9 is Carlos. P10 is Dursby, which actually had the win in Bahrain. Brissink P11, Linus is P11, and last was Cameron, I believe. And yeah, in the Aston Martin. So we'll have to see. Is it going to be what
Suyan,
conditions?
I believe, was down in the bottom of the leaderboard there. I believe he had left the session early on. I don't know if he smacked the wall or anything like that, but he did get a time in, but it was not very good comparative to everybody else being able to make multiple runs.
Yep. It's a very unforgiving track, Baku. Team Power says get the pad and pen out, and George, the team principal of Mercedes, in the chat would like us to curse the McLaren. Whilst that will be friendly fire towards me, so I will not do that.
Now, see, back things up to the early 90s when I had, really gotten into Formula One right off the back of the domination of Ayrton Senna and the McLarens.
Cut you off right there. There's no formation lap, and it's actually lights out, and away we go. Jan gets a okay start, but Bradley immediately challenging down the inside. Bradley gets the lead of the race so far, and we already have a spinner in the Alfa Romeo. Is that a reset to track? I believe that is. And that needs to be written down by any other teams that wants to contest that. No safety cars off the start like it happened yesterday. Some spins down back. We saw a Haas reverse, I think, or AlphaTauri. Some people have dropped places. And Bradley losing the lead again to Jan. Jan spins and Bradley is collecting him. Okay, this one is wide open. Persigelli leads the race and Jacob following him close in P2 as well. So it's Mercedes versus Red Bull. Where have we seen that before?
Yeah. Yeah, some close racing, and the margins here are just so slim. You make a small little mistake, and then the next thing you know, you tap something, a wall, another car out on the track, and havoc ensues. No safety car, which is good. We've seen mostly clean racing for the most part out of everybody so far. The ones that have been spun around, able to keep it off the wall and get going. So
that's an early retirement by Mercedes, and there is a full course. No, there's just a VSC. Safety car is not out, and that is a big upset for the Mercedes team, as James Taylor is getting out of his car now and gonna take the moped back to his pits. And yeah, it is a VSC only, so there is no full course safety car. Persigelli has already gapped Jacob by 1.2 seconds. Persigelli having a great shot at the win right here.
Okay, so that should maintain the gaps of all of the drivers relatively close to where they were before the virtual safety car came out. We won't have the field bunched up and set behind the safety car like we had, and it looks like a couple runners going into the pits already.
Yeah.
It looks like Jan Sverdlik starting on hards, and it looks like he's going to opt out of that.
Changed wings as well. So there's been damage to the wing on the McLaren, and obviously you do not want to run with a broken wing around Baku, where downforce is crucial in the 90-degree sections, but also later on with a broken front wing you have increased drag down the straight. So changing it while there is a VSC is the best choice. So Bradley, Jan and Brissink already put out of contention as of right now. Safety car will blow this right open yet again, but there is no safety car as of yet. Mercedes still leading the race. The Flying Finn is dragging the Red Bull along, and let's see if there is going to be a fight for the win here. So we have a Mercedes followed by a Red Bull, followed by an Aston Martin, followed by an AlphaTauri. So we got two Mercedes engines and two Honda engines in the mix here.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting battle because there's no real teammates to speak of to help you get in front or kind of help you through the field. It's a little bit of every man for themselves, as I believe the virtual safety car has ended and we are back under green flag conditions.
That we are. And currently we're on board with the Mercedes, and the Red Bull is flowing close by. And the Red Bull already down to 50 ERS, whilst the Mercedes isn't really quite pushing, as he goes a bit wider. Maybe kiss the wall just a teeny tiny bit, but just enough to not get any damage. But yeah, Jacob seems to be pushing real hard. DRS won't be enabled for... well, it is enabled. Sorry about that. Apologies. And DRS is enabled, and Jacob... Oh, looks to be swerving.
We definitely thought about it.
Yeah.
Oh, that compromised his line through the turn with that maneuver there. He couldn't quite make the move, so... able to recover and just tuck back in behind the Mercedes. Now it's just a matter of stalking his prey and trying to find the right time to strike.
Yeah, definitely. And if I'm not mistaken, I am not mistaken. As you can see, Persigelli is on the harder compound tire, which means that he's not even at his most optimal pace at the moment. And Jacob getting out of shape there, out of the castle section, and already 8/10 down. And I'm here to tell you that it's not easy to overtake her in back as everyone seems to think it is. As you see, Jacob tried to bamboozle the Mercedes, and it only ended up with him bamboozling himself.
Yeah.
That tends to happen.
It's the age-old saying of it's so easy to catch up to a car, but it is a much different animal when it comes to actually getting in front and passing the car in front of you. So I think Jacob's tried to, in one way, shape, or form, just kind of get himself into a proper distance so that when he does attack, he won't get too close too fast and have to back out like we saw in the last lap.
Yeah. Either way, though, for Persigelli, it doesn't matter if you win or lose this position to Jacob. If you lose the position to Jacob...
We've got a safety car out.
You're completely right. And I do not know what triggers it. It might be Brissink, who's down the order there, might lost the wing in the straight. Let's see if we can spot his front wing anywhere else. No, he has his front wing intact. So I do not know why there is a cause for a safety car at the moment. He didn't go into the pit. So Persigelli, this is really good for Persigelli. 4 laps in on a harder tire. Jacob could pit right now and go to the hard tire and finish the race with them. But they are absolutely horrible to drive. Like I said in the interview box yesterday, you do not want to be on the hard tire. You want to start on the hard tire ideally, because then you will have the faster tire much later on and have less fuel as well, making the car lighter. But yeah, no, the engineers, the strategists in their VCs bring out the calculators, just thinking what is the best optimal strategy right now. Safety car lap 4, who knows?
Now, I'm going to quiz you a little bit here, because I'm going to speculate a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. You can help me out here, hopefully. If you opt out of the hard tire at this point,
yeah,
you're going into a 2-stop strategy, wouldn't you? Because you'd have to go medium. There's no way the medium's going to last 20-some-odd laps, is there?
So you cannot, as a hard tire runner, you cannot pit. Why I said it would benefit the harder tires, because they will have a fresher tire towards the end, and they can maybe even push for soft towards the end. What's not ideal is for the medium runners right now, that they can jump into the harder tire, and it won't be a 2-stop. They can run it to the end, but it's just a much slower tire in general. It's maybe a second slower than the medium tires they're currently on. So yeah, it just blew open the strategy board wide open.
Okay, that's a little bit of insight that I was kind of missing with the previous races, but then, well, one of them had a little bit of rain come in and modify the strategies ever so slightly.
I don't remember.
I never saw, what I thought would be the ideal strategy of start on the hard and then option into the medium at about lap 14 to 16, or extend the hard a lot further and then go to the soft for the last 5-6 laps or so. The safety cars, the weather, everything seemed to throw a spanner in the works, as it were.
Yep, it definitely did yesterday. It only showed in our in the strategic where you edit the tires. It only showed that it would rain for 5 laps or something. Of course, it's approximate, so you really don't know, and these drivers don't know either. As of right now, clear skies, barbecue weather, if you wish. Maybe put that shrimp on the barbecue and have a good day after the race. But it's right now it's pretty straightforward: medium to soft or hards to medium. You can do hards to soft, but the soft tire in this car is a very terrible racing tire. It only lasts maybe 3 or 4 laps, and then it loses its pace completely. It's like jumping off a cliff with the timer. That is, it's just not worth it to switch to soft, in my personal opinion. But as of right now, these are the drivers driving today. They will know what's best for them. They give the feedback to their engineers, and if it's worth switching, then it's going to be worth switching. But it's going to be a gamble at the end of the day, and it's going to be a gamble for all of them.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that's what it all comes down to at the end of the day, is the overall race strategy, because we did see a couple runners, Bradley, Jan, and Brasingric, come in early and option off of the hard tires, but then we saw Suyan last lap come in and get hard tires. So is Suyan just going to try to take these hard tires the rest of the way?
Might be. In the game, of course, it's a bit like real life, I'd say, when it comes to the tire wear, is the fact that, at the opening stages of the harder tire, it will feel horrible. It will be quite bad. And then it started to get into the groove of it, and the tire starts to feel better until it feels worse again. But then you get rid of that layer that's sort of bad, and then the tire starts to feel good again somewhat. The tire is really confusing this year, I must admit. But more strategy means that there will be more cases of overtaking during the race. And talking about overtaking, we're getting ready for green flags, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we saw the memo up at the top, safety car in this lap, so it darted off. Yeah. And Persigelli is leading the pack to the restart, so we'll see when he decides to take off.
Yeah. Yesterday people like to take off quite early. We'll see with Persigelli. He's leading the pack at the moment, so we'll be on board with Jacob to watch this restart. And Persigelli is taking it calmly. He doesn't need to go now, at least until the line, and he's going, and he caught Jacob napping. Jacob is already under pressure by the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri is closer to Jacob than Jacob is closer to the Mercedes. Jacob, no chance in overtaking, but let's see. Further down the field, we see Dirty Spy overtaking. Oh, as the Alpine goes side by side with the Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo currently ahead by just that tiny bit. Bradley going down the inside of the Haas of Linus. And the McLaren find the option there as well. Finds Linus all out of shape and overtook him while he saw the chance.
Yeah, get in while you can. Get it while it's hot, as it were. So we see... Oh no.
That's Linus.
Oh, no.
That's Linus. Linus has retired from the race. So maybe the Haas had experienced some issues with the front wing or something, just unable to turn in. But Haas is currently out of the race, but there is no warrant for a safety car probably because the car is so close to an exit road, so the marshals are able to carry out the car in a safety manner before the leader comes around that part of the track yet again next lap.
Yeah, it looks like they'll be able to get that Haas out of there before any potential danger to race staff or any the racers them. Whoa, that was a little bit of a moment there for, I believe that was a...
There is spy of Alpine, yeah. And Jan and Bradley just overtaking the field left, right, and center. Not really something that can stop them at the moment. The only thing that can stop them is each other. And as we see, Jan currently challenging Bradley down the straight right here. Are we gonna see an overtake? Jan got P3 in Bahrain. Let's see if he can get the position from Bradley again. He can, and the McLaren is ahead of the Williams, and they're on the same tire company as well, so they're on the same strategy. And Bradley really very much unlike him to give a position away like that, but the McLaren remain unchallenged.
Sometimes you just have to think of the bigger picture and go, all right, I let him go, and we'll just kind of tuck in behind each other and carve our way up through the field, because those are our two fastest runners in qualifying, and they were involved in an early incident, and now they're back in the fight. They're 4 or 5 seconds maybe from the first place, if I'm adding things up correctly.
Yeah.
With all the intervals adding up.
Yeah, they're absolutely rapid on those tires right now, and Jan is so close to the Alfa Romeo's gearbox that he can practically draw a blueprint of it on his dashboard and send it over to McLaren headquarters for analysis. That's how close he is to the Alfa Romeo. He sees the Italian flag on the rear wing right there, and is he going to go for a move this lap? We don't know. He uses a bit of his ERS. It's about 60%, and he has a great exit as well compared to the Alfa Romeo. Much higher top speed as well, and with the help of Slipstream, is he going to make the move? It looks like it. He's using up his ERS. The Alfa Romeo goes defensive, uses ERS as well. They're going side by side. DRS is enabled this lap as the McLaren goes down the inside of the Alfa Romeo, cuts in front of him, and Bradley needs a lot more work to do to get that Alfa Romeo. Alfa Romeo getting a bit shaky as the Alpine of Sue and Spun. Yeah, a bit difficult with that traction control. Not quite used to it, if I remember him saying when we discussed about being teammates. But Bradley overtaking the Alfa Romeo as well down the inside. So yeah, they're just opening the field up like Moses. if I know it right. I'm not a religious type of person, but that's what it looks like right now.
Well, it's not the Red Sea, but they are definitely parting through the entirety of this field like it were the Red Sea.
Yeah, definitely. And we're in the Middle East as well, so who knows. Bradley into the castle section, and Jan is absolutely on fire on that McLaren. I'm surprised you don't see anything burnt off the nose of McLaren because of how fast he is. It's like he's entering the atmosphere. He's just that quick at the moment, and he's already caught up to the people ahead of him. And he can practically see the leader already from having that first lap incident. He can see Persigelli leading the race. He's on 1 lap fresher mediums as well. We'll have to see how it goes. Is he going to catch up to the leader? Who knows? He's within the RS of the car ahead. Well, and this is where the action lays.
Is doing a really good job of holding the runners behind him on those medium tires, essentially holding them up. Jacob and Phoenix do not seem to be able to get around Persigelli, so they're almost wasting their medium tires, while Persigelli is just kind of, okay, I'm here out on the hards, another, nice little Sunday day at the office,
Absolutely. It seems to be a nice day. We do see some clouds though, yellow flags in sector 2. That's an Aston right there, that's Cameron. seems that his car is going again. Seems completely fine to me. And yeah, like you said, Jacob unable to challenge Persigelli as of yet, and Jan just closing in on that lead. But Persigelli will have the best tire in the end. He's the only runner that is fighting for the win right here that is on the harder tire, which means that he will switch to mediums in 6 lap times, like you said.
Well, I think a lot of the runners are set to come in almost at the same time, but they're all on mediums, so they're going to have to probably come in lap 12, roughly. I mean, how much longer are these medium tires going to last?
Well, with
And
safety
they're
car
gonna-
and VSC, I think they can actually stretch it to soft if they would like, but that's not the ideal strategy if you ask me. Considering that the soft do wear out quite quick, and Jan not really gonna try to overtake anyone right here because he's too far away. Jacob unable to challenge Persigelli yet again. Locked up his rear there a bit, if you see the rear end sliding there a bit. The Red Bull though, the Mercedes car is being chased by 3 Red Bull engine power cars right here. It's 2 Red Bulls and 1 Alpha Tower in the middle. It's a Red Bull sandwich.
All right, well, we've got Dirty Spy, I believe, in the pits. I see 2 runners that not moving down by the pits area. There we go. Cameron Searle
On softs,
onto
interesting.
the softs.
That will not
Yeah.
last the whole race, I can guarantee you of that. I can actually put money on the table right now that those tires won't even last 5 laps until they get slower. There is Spy on the faster compound of mediums right now. He hits the fastest lap, and he's currently 1 position out of the top 10. He needs to be in the top 10 to get that extra point. But as of right now, it's not going to matter really, because he's not in the fight for the big points like these boys are. And these boys are gunning for it. And Jacob is closer than ever to Persigelli right now. Less ERS, might I add, but is much closer to Persigelli. But Persigelli just seems to have that great exit speed and got Jacob immediately by 2/10 in 1 corner.
This is surprising to me that the hard tire is so effective. It's got to be, right in that range where the hard tire is almost more optimal. Ooh, as we see Jacob, closing down that gap near the end of the stretch.
Oh, Jan is out!
Oh, no. Oh,
Just
Jan
caught that.
Sperber out
And
of the race.
That's a safety car, and now Persigelli might think about switching to the mediums. Yeah, that's a huge crash right there. I just got to that. I saw that he was going for an overtake, and he was just caught on the outside there. That's the one of the contenders for the championship, and Jan, yeah, rightfully so, leaving the session because there is nothing to fight for anymore in this particular race. But yeah, that McLaren is missing a crucial part of the car to continue racing.
Yeah, I don't think we're allowed to 3-wheel it around the track. So,
I'll
some
just,
assembly required with that McLaren. So,
Yeah.
unfortunate for Jan, who was so strong early in the race. Had an incident, set him back to the rear of the pack, fought his way back up to, I believe, 5th. And then another incident, unfortunately, ends his day halfway through, as we are on lap 12, about to start lap 13. So right around half distance, unfortunately, 3 of our drivers already out of the race.
Yeah. Well done, Baku. As smiling Daniel Ricciardo said, Baku does provide great racing, but also, if you're not careful enough, does deliver heartbreaks as well. Whilst it is upsetting, if you look at the positive, yeah, Persigelli going in for the mediums, guaranteed. If you look at the positive, for the free DNFs, they can go down the beach, have a pina colada, enjoy the sun a bit, because the sun is still shining, no rain, forecasted. Persigelli is being held up here by the Red Bulls, and Jacob has taken the lead of the race. He got jumped.
Oh, unfortunate that, Persigelli's gonna... Oh,
he got jumped by the Williams, AlphaTauri, and Jacob in the Red Bull.
Yeah, got caught out by, I believe, the Haas of Wilkes and I believe the Alfa Romeo of Brisendrick, both coming into the pits and basically causing Persigelli to be stuck in his spot. Can't come out when there's another car there. It'd be an unsafe release. Can't have that.
Yeah, George must have slammed his headset down the table, the team principal on Mercedes. Not a great outing for the Mercedes team at the moment. James Taylor, of course, DNFing very early on in the race. And Persigelli losing out to a lot of positions, 3 positions to be exact. He's been leading for the majority of the race, and here he is losing the lead to something that isn't even his fault. He got called in by the team and lost out the positions.
Yeah, I think just the sheer number of cars coming in had caught Persigelli out. The good thing is, let's look at the positive here. He's on the medium. Everybody else around him is on the hard. Yep. So if he can get these tires to last 12 laps.
I wish I was racing right now.
Oh, don't we all?
It looks like an awesome race to be a part of. It's looking perfectly set up for Bradley, perfectly set up for Persigelli at the moment, even though he lost out to a lot of positions. I don't know. Right now it's just a gamble of who will win this race, because I have no idea. It's wide open.
I mean, let's be honest. Everybody on the hards that have just come out on the hards, they're good for the rest of the race. A safety car really isn't going to change their strategy. Unless we see a safety car on like lap 20, and then you maybe consider throwing on the softs and going for it, take a snipe out a fast lap.
Yeah, exactly. But still, soft won't last until the end. The mediums from this point out, though, will last towards the end. They will just be a teeny tiny bit slower in the last 3 laps or something. But in the first opening laps, they will be absolutely rapid as we see the hard runners heating up the tires as much as they can. The hard tire just really not working around Baku from personal experience. And correct me if I'm wrong, Frico, but a bit more clouds in the sky. Oh, Bradley locks up into the corner right here. Ericsson hit him. And he dropped free position for Persigelli. Maybe Bradley felt bad about taking Persigelli's spot, and it's like, here you go, here you have it again. A little
bit of whoopsie-doo there.
A bit of a whoopsie-doo, so you're absolutely correct. And Jan in the chat saying that we should take a look at his POV. Sadly, we cannot exit out of the game at the moment, and if anyone would like to see his POV of what happened, you're welcome to join the Discord. Link is down below if you would like to be part of this league as well. Highly recommend it. But yeah, the Mercedes driver gained a position, and actually the whole grid did, up until P8 at least, gained a position. Just a little mistake can cost a lot during a safety car.
Well, everybody's so bunched up, you make a mistake with, swerving the car a little too much, and, you completely forget that, oh, wait, the track goes off to the right. I need to go that way, not
yep.
back and forth and back and forth. A little bit of a, maybe, Bradley's going, all right, I got to turn up the difficulty dial a little bit here. Carving my way up through the field was a little too easy that first time around. Let me see if I can do it again. Probably not what was said over the radio to the engineer, but, you know, hey. Oh. All right. We're going green here. It looks like everybody's started off. Jacob
still heating up the tires.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the hards are hard to heat up. Maybe that's why they named it a hard tire. To be a bit funny, but yeah, the Mercedes is in a great shot of the win right here because on the medium tire, Jacob had a hard time keeping up with Persigelli. But now it's switched around, and Persigelli, who had the easiest stint, is on the faster tire now. I have to overtake the two cars though, but I don't think it's going to be much of an issue for the Flying Finn in the Mercedes.
Now, once the DRS opens and we get into a nice long straightaway, that's where I believe that medium tire of Persigelli will show its value, as he should be able to just maintain, you know, his speed going out of a turn a little better than either Phoenix or Jacob, and he should be able to get around them within the next couple laps.
Absolutely right. And you can see Bradley here all over the gearbox of Alfa Romeo, a position where John was before, and sadly his race ended earlier than he would have wanted. Not on the top side of the podium, but sadly on a moped on his way back to the garage. But here we go, Bradley on the older tire than the Alfa Romeo, but has a lot more pace than the Alfa Romeo ahead. And look at the exit speed that Bradley has. Didn't even use ERS for that, and he's already this close.
Wow.
That what low drags give you.
Just about free for Bradley.
Yeah.
He should be able to make that pass very easily, and does. So just going to consolidate it coming into the turn here, and oh yeah, there's already a significant distance between the two.
Yeah.
So Bradley setting his sights on to the next runner, Brzezinski, who is right ahead of him.
On the faster tire though. Let's see if Bradley is fast on the harder compound. But as the overtaking happened for Bradley, Persigelli made a position for P2, and just look at the pace. That Mercedes is absolutely rapid.
Yeah, this is kind of scary. Persigelli, we saw the first 10 laps or so able to hold off Jacob and Phoenix, who were on the medium tires when Persigelli was on the hard. Now the roles are reversed. Persigelli, who has already shown that he might be the fastest car out there, is on the better tire now.
Yeah, it's all about the porridge inside the fin. He had a good morning, I presume, had a lot of porridge, giving him that extra 5 kph down the straight, and that extra 5 kgs of downforce maybe. And look, 7/10 now, and he's not even using ERS from what I know. And he's already closing up to the car ahead just by the sheer cornering speed of that Mercedes. And look how much he's closing in on that Red Bull as well. And yeah, that Red Bull is burning some ERS. They're actually about even on ERS, but Persigelli has the faster tire. So now Jacob really needs to defend with his life if he wants to keep that position. Ideally until Persigelli tires becomes a bit worse than the hard tires that he's currently on. But yeah, Persigelli just on faster boots at the moment, and let's see if he's going to utilize that to the extent we know he can do.
Yeah, DRS is enabled now, and speaking of fast boots, we got Bradley Wienert setting the fastest lap right now. So on the hard tire and setting the fastest lap, Bradley making a case for potentially making his way up the field, as he's about half a second behind for Brzezinski right now? Or am I misreading that timing board?
Bradley is a half a second off Brzezinski right now. You're absolutely correct. But a bit close to the wall. I'm gonna be on board with this battle for a long time. I'm grabbing my popcorn. I'm leaning back in my chair. I'm having a good glass of Coca-Cola in my hand as well. And I'm just gonna watch this battle unfold, because a Red Bull versus a Mercedes, it doesn't get much more poetic than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's going to be up to Persigelli to put in a little bit of gap, how should we say, control, because you don't want to be too close. You don't want to get too close and end up being behind the car where you have to pull out in the middle of a turn. That just ends up putting you behind where you want to be. So here it's a matter of gap control, really. Not able to close it all the way down, but now 0.3 of a second behind as opposed to 0.7 of a second last lap. So definitely Persigelli gaining on Jacob right now.
Exactly, and there's another DRS on right now. That big letterbox is wide open. Persigelli looking down the inside and not really doing anything with it. I think he's holding out. He's saving the ERS. He's saying, look, I don't need to overtake you this lap, but I'm going to do that eventually. I just want to have the easiest overtake as possible, and for that to happen, he needs to be as close as possible, so the DRS will work in his favor later on, as we see. Oh, that's a bit of a touch there from the Mercedes driver on the Red Bull driver, and the Red Bull driver going a lot of the really defensive here, while Persigelli was looking for an option, and he decided to wait up. Ooh, AlphaTauri doing a bit of a tag team here with the Red Bull driver. Persigelli though keeping a cool head. That's what Finns are known for as well. He might as well be racing in a sauna at the moment and still have a cool head. It's just how they're built. And he's still within the RS range.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a fortunate outcome. Jacob made the initial mistake, but Persigelli not able to capitalize it and basically being reset back to where he was when the caution ended in lap 15, I believe. Now the gap around 0.8 of a second, but we saw that gap decrease by about 2-3 tenths. So lap 20, we should see both of these two going at it wheel to wheel once more.
Yeah, and we saw 2 tenths, 2 tenths closure from Persigelli in that DRS rate. It's just that DRS is so powerful on this track because it's so long, and ideally you do not want to be the car leading on a harder compound of tire, whilst the car behind you has the softer compound of tire. And much more preferred tire as well, because the hard tire is just not working. We saw Jacob almost gapping Persigelli by a second while that initial incident happened, and look how close they are already. And Jacob really closing in right now. He's saying to Persigelli, look, you can go ahead, I want the DRS. But Persigelli is not going to fall for that. Persigelli is not going to fall into the mind games of the Red Bull driver, and the Red Bull driver got the initial better exit as well, and Persigelli used a bit of ERS to catch up to the Red Bull driver as they break downhill into the penultimate corner before the straight, and we see Jacob already looking to go defensive. I don't know if he thought that Persigelli was much closer than he is, but look, it's 5 tenths. If Persigelli uses ERS, this might be the overtake right here. We see him closing in, being as close to the wall as possible. You could not fit an envelope between the tire and the wall right there. And we can see Persigelli using ERS, has the letterbox open. Jacob goes defensive. Persigelli looks down the outside, and Jacob closes the door on him. That is perfectly legal. Persigelli, I think, ideally just want to be a bit closer before making that move.
Yeah, well, here we are, lap 20, and they're weird wheeled again. So here we go. So ding ding, sound the bell. Here we go.
Yeah.
These two are going to be going at it. Looks like Persigelli's got the run. Well, not able to finish it off. So, we got the crowd just jumping up and down on their balcony seats there, as Persigelli all over the back of Jacob right now.
Yeah, at the moment, my heart is beating so fast right now. You have no idea. Both of them, I have a really good relation with. Ideally, I do not want anything happen to them, but it is racing if anything does happen. And into the castle section we go for the 20th time this race, and Persigelli is 6 tenths behind Mr. Jacob 7/10 now. Jacob really pushing it to gap Persigelli. He does not want to be a victim of that long DRS zone. And look how close the grid is. You know, it's one mistake and you're out of the fight.
Yeah, the only real gap here is Wilkes, 4 seconds off. Wilkes and Dirty Spy a little behind the pace of everybody else. But you saw there was pretty much a good train of cars queued up behind Persigelli and Jacob. Phoenix was right there, right on the back of Persigelli. So if either of those two make a mistake, Phoenix, you know, right there to kind of vulture away a position or possibly two. Carlos, Bradley, both, you know, within a second as well. So, you know, you've got 5, 6 runners, maybe 7 if we want to count Brasingers as well. You know, all, you know, in that lead pack.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone can fight for the win. You can have an opportunity. You can have an opportunity. It's just, it's going to be a close one towards the end here. We don't really see this kind of racing unless it's actually e-sport racing, which is the top tier of racing you can get here on the Formula 1 game. We see everyone being quite cautious. Oh, Persigelli having a bit of a drift there. Just channeling his inner rally skills to be able to control that F1 car. And yet again, Persigelli not being able to close up to Jacob ahead. And here's where the tires are going to come into play as well, because now the hards and the mediums are about equal.
Oh, Persigelli is much closer to Jacob this time around. 2 laps ago, something happened that I wasn't able to bring it up, that Persigelli actually went and swerved himself in the castle section to keep himself off the back of Jacob, and that allowed Jacob to build up a significant gap, and now Persigelli much cleaner through the castle section. And now look at where he's at. You know, he's going to make the pass here.
Oh, terrible camera angle. We'll have to see here. Go for the switcheroo. Both of them low on ERS. Not really fighting for anything, and this battle is going to go down to the wire. Red Bull, Mercedes, AlphaTauri. I mean, this is where we what we've seen in real life in previous season, and this is what we see now as well. Persigelli closing the gap yet again, looking for the outside. Does the switcheroo, has the inside, that's the touch!
Oh no! Oh no!
I had a perfect view on that, and like I said,
that's going to be a virtual, if not a full safety car.
That's a virtual safety car, and Persigelli out of contention. Bradley up to P2. Phoenix leading the pack now, P1. And we have to see. Everyone is going to recharge the battery, but now I'd say it's a full course safety car. The full course safety car is out, and you know what that means? It's the red striped soft going into play.
Oh yeah, everybody's going to try to get in, get those softs, and we're looking at, what, a 2-lap sprint to the finish once the safety car is done going around, because we're going to do 1 full lap at minimum with the safety car. So that'll be lap 23. The safety car comes in lap 24, leaving lap 25 and 26 for everybody to fight it out on the softs.
Absolutely. And unlike what Lewis Hamilton said, this time it's not a marathon, it's actually a sprint. So now the cars have the lowest amount of fuel they have for the entirety of the race, which means that the soft tire will come to play. I can assure you of that. So we'll be on board with the leading car right now, and we'll have to see what he does. Everyone is going to follow him if he decides to pit, and he decides to stay out. Bradley though decides to pit. Cameron decides to stay out. Bradley, Carlos, Brissink, and Persigelli into the pits. Dirty Spy follows them in as well. Wilkes stays out on the older tire, on the older, harder tire. And Jacob for sure is going to come in as well because he has a broken wing.
Lacking a front wing, so he'll definitely have to come in.
Look at that.
So, oh, man. This is going to be like a turkey shoot for Bradley here. This is just fresh meat on worn tires. waiting for him once we go green. We're on lap 23. The safety car will have to complete this lap as its full lap around. So we should be going back to green flag racing on lap 24.
You're absolutely correct there. And Jacob needs to burn some tires to catch up to the grid. But Bradley being in the best position now for the win, whilst Percy and Jacob, that was contending for the win, lost out big time during their small incident there. And I would call it a racing incident because it was just a touch of a front wing that got hooked onto a rear wing. And usually when that happens, it's pretty much game over. Both the parties are going to spin. So in my personal opinion, if I were to judge that as an FIA member, that would be a racing incident, but we'll have to see what the people in FIA would think about that. As of right now though, Bradley has the best chance of winning because he's on the soft tire, and ahead of him is people on old mediums and old hards. Not really ideal. I would have pitted if I were them, but apparently they fought the best of it, and you know what, we're gonna stay out, we're gonna hope for the best. Hopefully, you know, the soft runners gets to an incident or fight hard with the car behind me. We'll have to just see. Well, we just have to see what's gonna happen. And yeah, I mean, if I had Bradley behind me on fresh off, then I was on old tires, I would not even try. I would lock up into the first corner and let him pass, if I'll be honest. Defending against him is...
this is a bit of a bonus gift, because it's lap 24. I figured you were going to go green here, but Jacob
right.
Not quite able to catch up to the rest of the pack. So we're going to have another lap around. So we're going to have a 2-lap shootout a la the green-white checker of NASCAR. I want to say infamy, but you know, not a fan of that particular way to handle a race. But it's definitely better than finishing under a yellow.
Absolutely. Okay, so we'll have 2 racing laps then. Do you reckon we finish with 9 drivers, or are we going to lose some more?
This is the point at which everybody is going to be looking to make their move.
Persigilli's on mediums. I just saw that now.
Yeah, I was going to point that out as well. I think Persigilli might just be going, all right, I brought it out yesterday with the runners that were left just kind of driving to survive. I think Persigilli might just be banking on an incident happening in front of him and just going, all right, I'm going to kind of, you know, atone for my sins from a little bit earlier. You know, maybe he was at fault, maybe not. It's not my place to assign fault. You know, it'll be looked at after the race, I think, at this point, and we'll see what happens with that particular incident. Jacob probably going to be, you know, calling for, you know, somebody to be tarred and feathered at minimum for taking him out of the lead of this race. But here we go, safety car in this lap.
Safety car is in this lap, and we are going to finish on a racing lap. There is no rule in Power F1 that says that we need to finish behind the safety car. There is no broken pieces on track, and all the cars that are out of the race are out of the track as well. We're going green flag racing, ladies and gentlemen, in just a moment in time, and we're currently on board with Bradley, the leading car on softs, and the cars, 3 cars ahead of him on holder compound of tires and harder as well, as they are already going, and nobody being caught out really. Actually, never mind, Cameron got caught out. Cameron, who had a mediocre race throughout the whole race right now, in P2.
Yeah, definitely Cameron and Wilkes taking the gamble and going, all right, can I hold on to my position with these older tires? Oh no. Oh, yikes.
Well, we saw that coming. That's also a commentator curse if I've ever seen one. Bradley up another position. Wilkes losing 2 positions off the start right here. And now Phoenix is a sitting duck for every single driver behind him. And
unfortunately, Cameron doing a little bit of a spinneroonie there just racing with, I believe, Wilkes into a corner and getting sent around. Not much you could do about it. So, just an unfortunate incident, like you said. But we were right on top of that one, watching it as it unfolded.
Yeah, and actually, you see raindrops on the screen. It's raining.
Oh no!
What a race! It's raining, and we see a yellow flag. That's an Aston. No, that's Brissink losing position. Sector 2. Yeah, that's Brissink out of the council sector. It's raining, ladies and gentlemen. And Bradley is on soft, and you do not want to be on the hard tire when it's raining right now. It's going to go down to the wire right now, because on a harder compound tire while it's raining, it's not really ideal. Bradley getting a great exit out of the penultimate corner before the last corner, which is corner 20. That's we just passed right here. DRS is not going to be enabled for the rest of the race, if I remember right. And Bradley having a great run on Phoenix. Phoenix going defensive right here, defending the inside, using his ERS as well. Bradley is being forced to the outside. Bradley is going to do the switcheroo. He does. And now Phoenix is on the outside. Bradley down the inside, and Bradley gets the position right there. I wouldn't expect anything less than that of Bradley. And the Red Bull already challenging as well. Carlos had a mediocre qualifying, had a mediocre race as well, up to P2, and now challenging for the win. Bradley out of ERS on the final lap. There's one straight to go still. Persigelli is not challenging anyone. 3 seconds adrift from Jacob. Jacob is challenging Phoenix though for the podium position. And the AlphaTauri is not running low on ERS compared to Bradley. Bradley already defending the insider just in case Carlos would dive it down the inside. And now we just have the castle section to go and a couple of corners before the long straight. And the rain has gone a lot worse from what it looks like for the soft runners. You see there's a lot of twitch in the steering right here. And Bradley just running away with it, but has low ERS, but so has Carlos. Phoenix, on the other hand, on the harder tire. Brissink retired from the race. So we are down to 8 runners. He retired in the castle section in the I am stupid corner. I'm not calling him stupid, but that's what we have officially named the corner since the infamous incident with Charlie Clare. Wickets retired from the session before the main straight. And now Bradley just have to keep the foot down on the right pedal as you see him victory swerving down into the main straight, the start finish line. And yeah, Bradley winner of Azerbaijan. Jacob finishes off in the podium. Phoenix just lost out there 0.04 of a second. We missed that. Persigelli P5 after a great qualifying, after a great race. Just not meant to be for Persigelli today.
Yeah, I believe Jacob not too far away from Persigelli when we got to the business end of the last lap there. So both of those runners that bunched up the pack with that incident leading to the safety car on lap 22, able to recover and bring in still a pretty good haul of points, as we're going to bring up the standing screen and see where everybody ended up. I don't believe there were any penalties assessed. So a clean race from the standpoint of
penalties,
the drivers, not picking up any penalties for, silly things like speeding while in the pit lane or exceeding track limits.
Yeah, well done, Baku, yet again. Rain towards the end of the race, who would have thought? I mean, the Williams team is celebrating. It's Bradley on the top step of the podium. And with Jan not finishing and Dirty Spy not finishing as well, from what I can remember, Bradley is now the championship leader. As we are going into the standings right here, the final qualifications of the race. And I might need to add that people who did DNF on the final lap will still get points because they're in the top 10. For that to happen, if you DNF and you're still within the top 10, you need to at least finish 90% of the race, which that was. So they will get they will get points from that. Yeah, well, that might be sort of a. Oh wow! I didn't even see. I didn't even get to
I
see it. But yeah, that might be a bit of a. What do you say? Uh, so it won't hurt us as much at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean that's the race, ladies and gentlemen, and uh, I'm gonna let you go because you need to do your stuff, uh, and I will take care of the
Yeah,
interviews.
I do need to run off to work tonight. I mean, I could stick around a little bit with the short qualifying. I do have a little bit more time than I thought I would, but
Awesome.
if you believe you can handle everything, I will leave you to it.
If you need to
Uh,
go, then I'll leave you to it.
all right, I will take my leave then. And Rickety, it was a blast.
As
Uh,
always, with you
luck
too.
to you in your races going forward, and I will see you at some point next week.
Yeah. Bye bye.
All
Uh,
right.
and that, ladies and gentlemen, was Frico, and a big thank you for him and his efforts this week. Been the ultimate commentator for us. And as of right now, there is actually no one waiting for the interview. So I'm just gonna finish it up quite quickly here. And yeah, uh, Bradley is now officially leading the race. I mean, leading the standings. And well, that is what is expected of him. He is the car that is gonna challenge for that grand prize towards the end. It's gonna be a difficult season for all the drivers, and yeah, no. Jacob says that he wants an interview, so I'm just waiting for him to go into the interview channel. Let's see. Uh, so we're just awaiting everyone to get ready, if that's the case. And we'll start with bringing in P3. And I'm just gonna jump into a VC where they're not able to hear me. Let's see here. Right, and then we get Jacob in.
Oh,
Hello, Jacob, the Red Bull driver who fought for the win, who was behind the Mercedes, and then ahead of him in the pits. Sorry, and then yeah, I mean it was a quite eventful race. A little bit of everything, a bit of extra spice with the rain towards the end as well. Less safety cars than yesterday, but still a lot of safety cars. Walk us through your race.
well, qualifying was just pretty bad. Without too much practice, unfortunately, as I didn't have time to just get on the simulator and just get on it. So getting P5, I think it was all right today. I'm not happy, but yeah. Then in the race, start P4, then up to P2. Percy J then crashed and got his front wing damaged, which was I didn't actually think it was damaged for a bit because I couldn't see the damage on the right hand side. But then when he pit it, I saw Mercedes team with the front wing running out like penguins. I was like, yeah, that's my position. And unfortunately, he doesn't know where his front nose is even later in the race when he just crashes me out. I think it's turn 4.
Uh, in my personal opinion, and of course, that's just basing it off the stream without seeing anything at the moment. But it looked a bit of an unfortunate event because for me, it looked more of a racing incident because it was just that slightest of taps that, in real life Formula One car wouldn't really spin you around. But it so happens that the F1 cars we get modeled into the game is built like a brick on ice. So the slightest of taps will send you around. And from me, at least, that's what it looked like. But yeah, it's an unfortunate unfortunate incident that you had. But you got a good result towards the end, though. Yeah. Uh, all right. Well, Canada is up next. Any hopes, any dreams, any potential challenge for the championship from Canada? What's your thoughts? Yeah, yeah. You couldn't hear Jacob, bruh. Wait. It says here that there is audio from you. I'm just gonna reset that. Give me a second. Uh, yeah, you know the audio bar. It says it goes up and down, so it looks like you're talking. So it's just my equipment failing me yet again. But that's not that's that's nothing new. Uh, all right, let's see. Okay, it seems like I restarted it, so hopefully you hear him. So to bring in short, let's make it a bit quicker this time. So you said quality bad, race not as good. Percy Gully don't know where his nose is. Unfortunate. Hopefully a lot more action in Canada. Yeah. And maple syrup, awesome, great, and hopefully you will actually drive your own car and not ask anyone else to drive. Am I right? Yeah. Well, as long as you're driving your own car and not letting one else drive, that's completely fine. Because apparently yeah, that's not really kindly looked at in this league anymore, and never been, to be honest. It just so happened that people dressed up, I guess cosplayed as other drivers and jumped into their account. But it happens. Thank you for joining the commentary box. I will get someone else in. And we'll see you next week in Canada. Thank you. Bye bye. Carlos, the second Red Bull driver, and the second step of the podium as well. You had a mediocre qualifying, and on the on the opening laps and the middle stint as well, you didn't really challenge for any positions, but you ran away with P2 behind Bradley. Unfortunate that you didn't get him though, because he was low on ERS and everything. But yeah, you still good result. Skill issues. Yeah, I mean, Baku is quite unforgiving. Mm. But even though with that poor qualifying result, you managed to bring in some big points for the Red Bull team. And yeah, I mean, it certainly gives you a lot more hope for the Red Bull team into the future with possible constructors maybe. Jacob did try his best as well, got into the podium right behind you. Just unable to challenge for P1 with Bradley, but you got the position at the end. Are you excited for Canada? Oh. Yeah, for sure. Awesome. Yeah. Well, it sounds like a romantic getaway for you and Jacob. Uh, but awesome that you feel about that in a teammate. Of course, chemistry is important as well as your race engineer. And we'll look forward to having you again in Canada. And hopefully, maybe you get the P1 from your point of view. Thank you for joining the commentary box. And yeah, we'll see you next week. Bye bye. Right. Mr. Bradley. Everyone expected you to be winning right back and center, you know, back to back wins. And whilst it's not been back to back, you lost out on the win in Bahrain and Spain didn't run. Your first win officially comes here in Baku. Walk us through your race. Well, even though you might, it might seem like an everyday thing to you to be taken out and then fight back, but the amount of overtakes you and that McLaren of Jan did after you guys lost out and during the safety car restart, it was a pleasure to watch. It was amazing to see you guys just splitting the grid like Moses, like we compared you guys to in in the commentary box. It was a really awesome spectacle to see that you guys were sort of working together, but yet not to pass the whole grid. And unfortunately, yeah, Jan got into another incident, took him out of his race. But you, on the other hand, you dodged some bullets there, and you managed to get P1 just at a nick of time with one less racing lap than we thought. So good racing from you, in my personal opinion. And well, are we gonna see the same from Mr. Bradley in Canada next week? Mm. Okay. Well, I don't expect anything less from you, Mr. Bradley. Thank you for joining the commentary box today, and we'll see you next week in Canada. Yeah. Anytime. Bye bye. All right, that ladies and gentlemen, that closes out the race for tonight. And as we saw right there, Mr. Bradley looking forward for Canada, and actually every driver that we had in the com box looking ahead for Canada. Unfortunate result for Percy Gelly in the Mercedes and Mercedes as a whole. Aston Martin and any other team really didn't really challenge for anything today. AlphaTauri had a moment there at a certain time, but we move on to Canada, and officially the race, the standings leader in Pro Series is Bradley. So let's see if anyone could stop the reign of terror by the Williams driver. And we'll see you guys next week with Canada starting Academy, Challenger, and then Pro Series